All right, so we're diving into this whole keto flu thing, you've been asking about.
Yeah.
You sent us like a ton of videos from keto experts, articles from Intermountain Health and places like that. And
Hmm.
everybody seems to have their own idea about, what this flu-like thing is all about.
Yeah, definitely.
But before we get into it, I
Yeah.
just want to say, we're not here to tell you the keto diet is good or bad.
Right.
What we want to do is try to figure out, what is this keto flu thing?
Yeah.
Why does it happen?
You're
And
gonna.
what can you do about it if you decide to try keto and it happens to you?
Yeah, and from the looks of it, from all the sources you sent, there are
Yeah.
a bunch of different ways to look at it.
Yeah.
Some people are all about like quick fixes. Other people think it's like a, whole body kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what we find.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's start with Dr. Berg.
Okay.
He's like all about the electrolytes, like super focused on them.
Oh.
He's like salt, like, avocados, bone broth, like
Wow.
just pours salt on everything. It's
Yeah.
like he thinks electrolytes are the magic cure.
Wow.
But is it really that simple?
I mean, electrolytes are definitely important, like no question.
Right.
But just focusing on salt maybe misses part of the picture.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that Dr. Berg is so focused on electrolytes because to him, it seems like, keto flu is just this imbalance that you can fix pretty easily.
Yeah.
But then you've got like Intermountain Health.
Right.
They call it carb flu.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different way of looking at it.
Right. Carb flu. It's
Yeah.
like your body's totally freaking out because you took away its favorite thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's having a tantrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that actually reminds me of what Thomas DeLauer said about sugar being like addictive.
Oh, totally.
Like our bodies just get hooked on those, quick bursts of energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you suddenly take that away, the body's like, wait a minute.
Right.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
So it can go through a kind of withdrawal.
Yeah.
But before we get into all of that,
Yeah.
we should probably make sure we're all on the same page about what ketosis actually is.
Oh, yeah. Good point. I know all this stuff, but some people listening might be like,
Yeah, exactly.
what are they talking about?
So ketosis, it's basically like your body's metabolism switching gears.
Okay.
So instead of using carbs for energy,
Yeah.
it starts burning fat.
Hmm.
And that's the whole point of the ketogenic diet, or keto as they call it,
Right.
to cut out almost all the carbs.
Mm-hmm.
So your body has to go into that fat burning mode.
So that's the connection.
Yeah.
And DeLauer explains really well, why this shift can lead to the keto flu.
Mm-hmm.
He says there are like three main reasons.
Okay.
The first one is that carb withdrawal we just talked about.
Right.
Like your body going cold turkey on sugar,
Yeah.
which he says can really mess with your mood and your energy.
Yeah. And it's not just like a mental thing either.
Right.
It's like your body actually goes through changes.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, when you burn through all the stored glucose in your body,
Yeah.
that's called glycogen.
Okay.
You also lose the water that was attached to that glycogen.
Oh.
And that can make you dehydrated.
Okay.
And that's part of why you feel so tired and blah.
I.
And, DeLauer has this great way of describing it.
What's that?
He calls it the sludge phase.
Sludge phase.
Yeah, like your body is running on fumes,
Right.
using up those last bits of carbs
Mm.
before it fully commits to burning fat.
Wow, that's a really good way to put it.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like you can really picture it.
Yeah.
And it's during this sludge phase
Okay.
that the second reason kicks in,
Mm-hmm.
the electrolyte imbalance.
Right.
And this is more than just needing salt.
Okay.
When you cut carbs, you also cut down on how much insulin your body makes.
Right.
Insulin is really important for controlling how your kidneys deal with electrolytes, especially sodium, but also potassium and magnesium.
So if you have less insulin,
Yeah.
you're losing more of those electrolytes. No
Exactly.
wonder people feel so drained.
Right. And that loss of electrolytes is a big part of why you get those classic keto flu symptoms.
Like food.
Like fatigue,
Yeah.
headaches, even muscle cramps.
Oh, yeah.
And headaches are a good example.
Okay.
Because when you don't have enough sodium,
Hmm.
it affects the fluid balance in your brain.
Right.
And that can give you those pounding headaches.
Wow. Okay, so it's a lot more complicated than just adding some extra salt to your food.
Yeah, it is.
But there's a third reason too, right?
Yes, there is. And this one might surprise you.
Okay.
It's the extra ketones themselves.
Really?
Yeah. Remember, your body is basically learning to use this whole new fuel source,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't always do it perfectly.
Right.
It's kind of like your metabolism's getting flooded with this new fuel,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not quite sure how to use it efficiently yet.
So even though ketones are supposed to be like the good guys, They can actually cause problems at first.
They can, especially in the
So it's
beginning.
just too much of a good thing.
Exactly. And this can lead to nausea, fatigue,
Yeah.
and even that weird metallic taste that some people get.
Oh, yeah.
It's all part of the adaptation process.
This is really fascinating.
It is.
So it sounds like keto flu is more than just a little annoying. It's
Yeah.
like a full-on reaction to this big change in your diet.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And that's probably why the symptoms are so different for different people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your genes, how many carbs you normally eat,
Yeah.
even how much water you drink,
Mm-hmm.
all of that affects how your body reacts to ketosis.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those symptoms.
Okay.
Intermountain Health has like a whole list of them.
Yeah, they do.
And it's not just, headaches and feeling tired.
Right.
They even say you can get brain fog, stomach aches, and trouble sleeping.
Yeah, it's like this whole metabolic shift is messing with your whole system.
Wow.
Yeah, and like the sleep problems.
Yeah.
That can be tied to the electrolyte imbalances.
Right.
Magnesium especially is really important for regulating sleep.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And one thing everyone seems to agree on
Okay.
is that staying hydrated is super important.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Intermountain Health even says you should drink half your body weight in ounces of water every day.
That's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Especially when you're first starting keto.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, you lose a bunch of water from that initial glycogen depletion.
Right.
So you really need to make sure you're drinking enough.
And it's not just about replacing the water you lose through sweating and stuff, right?
No, it's not.
It's also about making up for the change in how your body stores and uses water.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A whole new ball game.
Right. So we talked about what keto flu is and why it happens, but what can we actually do about it?
Yeah. How do we deal with this thing?
Yeah.
Well, there's no magic bullet.
Right.
But there are definitely things you can do to make it easier,
Okay, so give us the goods. What can we do to minimize the suffering?
Well, one of the biggest triggers is that sudden drop in carbs.
Yeah.
Like you're basically slamming on the brakes for your body's fuel source.
Mm-hmm.
So Intermountain Health suggests, easing into it.
Okay.
Maybe try a regular low-carb diet for a week or two,
Okay.
just to let your body adjust before you go full keto.
So a gradual descent instead of just jumping off a cliff?
Exactly. And another important thing they say
Yeah.
is to start loading up on electrolytes before you even start keto.
Oh, okay. So don't wait till you feel bad.
No, don't wait.
Get a head start.
Be proactive.
So we're talking leafy greens, avocados, all that good stuff.
Yeah, all of that. And don't forget about salt.
Right.
Don't be afraid to season your food.
Yeah.
You could even start taking an electrolyte supplement a few days before you switch to keto.
Okay, so it's like giving your body a little insurance policy.
Yeah.
I like that. Are there any other things we should do before we start keto to get ready?
Well, Del Lauer, the bone broth guy,
Yeah.
he's really big on gut health.
Oh, yeah. He loves that bone broth.
He does. And he says it can really help with fat adaptation.
Okay, so why is gut health so important for all this?
Well, remember he was saying that going keto can throw your gut microbiome out of whack.
Yeah.
Bone broth has a lot of collagen and nutrients
Okay.
that can help keep your gut lining healthy and keep your microbiome balanced.
So it's like prepping your gut for the keto ride.
Exactly.
Minimizing the initial shock,
Right.
makes everything smoother.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But even with the best prep, you might still get some keto flu.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's talk about what to do if you start feeling those symptoms.
Yeah, give us the action plan.
Okay, well, we already talked about hydration and electrolytes.
Right.
Those are like the foundation.
Yeah.
But let's get into some specifics.
Okay.
For hydration, plain water is super important. But you can also try drinks with electrolytes, like sugar-free sports drinks or coconut water,
Yeah.
especially if you're losing fluids, through diarrhea or vomiting.
Right. Got to replenish what you're losing.
Exactly. And when it comes to electrolytes, sodium is king.
Okay.
Don't be shy with the salt shaker or try some salty broth.
Mm-hmm.
But don't forget about potassium and magnesium, too.
Right.
You can get those from leafy greens, avocados, nuts.
Yeah.
Or you could take supplements if you need to.
Okay, so fluids and electrolytes are covered. What about the energy crashes and brain fog?
Oh, yeah. Those are tough.
Yeah, those are the ones I'm most worried about.
Sleep is super important.
Yeah.
Aim for a good night's rest.
Easier said than done when you feel wired and tired at the same time.
I know it's hard,
Yeah.
but it can really make a difference.
Okay. Any other tips for energy and focus besides sleep?
Well, DeLauer talks about exercise
Oh, yeah.
as a way to burn off those extra ketones
Okay.
and speed up the adaptation process.
Right.
You might not feel like hitting the gym when you're feeling fluish,
True.
But even light activities like walking or yoga can help.
Just get the blood flowing.
Exactly. And even if you don't feel like working out, just getting outside for a walk can really help with your mood and focus.
Okay, so we're sleeping. What about those sugar cravings?
The sugar cravings.
Yeah, they're tough.
They can be really intense when you first cut back on carbs.
Yeah.
The key is to make sure you're eating enough healthy fats on keto.
So it's not just about cutting out the carbs.
No, it's not.
It's about replacing them with the right stuff.
Exactly. When your body's getting enough fat, it's less likely to crave sugar for quick energy.
Okay.
So load up on avocados, nuts, seeds, olive oil, fatty fish.
Yeah, those all sound good.
They are.
Way better than just feeling deprived.
Right. And don't forget about protein.
Oh, yeah, protein.
It's important for keeping your muscles strong and making you feel full.
Right, which can help with the cravings. Okay, so we've got hydration, electrolytes, sleep, movement, healthy fats, protein.
It's the whole package.
Yeah, it's like a holistic approach.
It is. And remember, everyone's keto journey is different. What works for one person might not work for another.
Right.
So it's all about finding what makes you feel your best.
That's a good reminder. We've covered a lot in this part of our deep dive on Keto Flu.
I have.
But there's more to come, so stay tuned.
Okay.
In part 3, we'll talk about more ways to manage those symptoms.
Sounds good.
And we'll talk about when it might be a good idea to see a doctor,
Right.
Don't go anywhere. All right, so we're back for the final part of our Keto Flu deep dive.
Yeah.
We've talked about the science, the symptoms, all the things you can do. I feel like I could totally handle keto now, with all this info.
That's great to hear. It's all about making smart choices for your health.
Yeah, exactly. So, before we wrap up, are there any other, hidden gems in our sources? Any other tips or tricks that we haven't mentioned yet?
Actually, yeah, there is one.
Oh, yeah?
Intermountain Health talks about restorative yoga.
Oh, yeah.
They say those gentle movements can help with sore muscles and release those feel-good endorphins.
Right.
It's not always about, crazy workouts.
Right.
Sometimes it's just about relaxing and de-stressing.
Yeah, because stress can definitely make Keto Flu worse.
Oh, for sure. It's all connected.
Yeah, totally. And speaking of feeling good, Healthline mentions MCT oil.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a type of fat that turns into ketones really easily.
Right.
They say you can add it to your coffee or smoothies for a quick energy boost.
It's like a keto energy shot.
Yeah, but you probably shouldn't overdo it, right?
Yeah, definitely start slow.
Yeah.
Especially when you're already dealing with keto flu symptoms.
Right, good point. We've talked a lot about taking care of yourself,
Yeah.
But when should someone actually see a doctor?
That's a good question.
When is keto flu more than just a little annoying?
Well, usually it's temporary.
Yeah.
And you can manage it with the things we talked about.
Right.
But there were some warning signs.
Okay, like what?
If your symptoms are really bad or if they just don't go away. Like if you're throwing up or having diarrhea for a long time and you're getting dehydrated, then you should definitely talk to a doctor.
Right, because dehydration can be serious.
It can.
What about people who already have some health issues?
Yeah.
Should they be extra careful?
Definitely if you have any problems with your kidneys, liver, or pancreas,
Okay.
you should talk to your doctor before you even try keto.
So they can help you figure out if it's safe.
Exactly. And they can keep an eye on you.
Yeah, make sure everything's okay. So basically, listen to your body.
Yeah.
Be proactive about managing your symptoms.
Right.
And don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it.
Exactly.
That's good advice. So what's the main thing you want our listeners to take away from this whole keto flu conversation?
Well, I think the most important thing is that keto flu is usually temporary.
Okay.
It's just a phase. If you understand what's going on and you take care of yourself, you can get through it.
Right.
And then you can make good choices about your health.
Well said. And you know me, I always like to leave our listeners with something to think about.
Okay, what is it?
So here's a question we didn't really talk about.
Right.
Since keto can mess with your electrolytes, what does that mean for other diets?
Oh,
Like low carb or fasting?
yeah, that's a good question.
Something to ponder.
It really makes you think about how important it is to be careful with any diet changes.
Totally. All right, so that's it for our Keto Flu deep dive.
That was a good one?
We hope you learned something new.
Yeah.
And that you feel more confident about making healthy choices.
Absolutely.
Until next time, stay curious and keep on exploring.
See you later.